Hello and welcome to Las Vegas. We are at the 6th edition of Infrastructure Summit by Structure Research, and joining me today at this event is Chris Downie, former CEO of Flexential. Thank you so much for joining me, Chris.
It's great to be here, thank you.
Good, how has it been?
Well, the conference as always is great. A lot of great insights and great to see a lot of colleagues and other folks in the industry. A couple of weeks ago, I announced that I was leaving Flexential, and it was really the right time for the company, the right time for me. We've been on a kind of a capital journey for a number of years, and we finally got to a point where that was re-architected for the future, and that begins a really exciting next chapter for Flexential. So it was really kind of a crescendo of 9 years of a lot of hard work, but really looking forward to watching the company move into the future under the leadership of Ryan Mallory. But it's the same great team doing the same great things, and for me, it's about what's next. So the industry is incredibly dynamic, as everyone knows, and hopefully I'll have a lot of opportunity to take 20 years of experience and hopefully some credibility and apply it to a next chapter.
I think that's amazing to hear that you've had 20 years experience is obviously something I can only dream of going forward. Tell me what have been the key pillars in your career path from the beginning to where you are today?
Yeah, well, I think as it relates to the data center domain, I think one of the things that I've enjoyed is that the business has always proven resilient through whatever cycle it was going through, and it really tended to accelerate thereafter. So, I lived through really the beginning of the commercialization of the internet, the number of financial crises that we've had over the years, COVID, the advent of public cloud, and really now the advent of the availability of GPU infrastructure at scale, otherwise known as AI, and I'm really excited to see the industry tackle that new chapter, but also I think it's going to change the way that the industry needs to evolve very, very differently than what it did in earlier chapters. So the playbook is changing, and but I think the industry and the solutions that we provide have proven resilient regardless, so I think that'll likely happen again.
And I think it's really interesting, and I know that your plan is not to just sit back and relax. This is definitely not a retirement for everyone out there. Tell me, what trends are you planning to keep up with in the industry, and what excites you going forward, wherever you're going to go next in terms of your new venture? Just tell me a bit about that.
Yeah,
the trends you'll be focusing on.
So definitely not retirement. So looking for a next chapter that I can be passionate about, where I can really leverage everything I've learned. Although I was on I did a keynote about a month ago, and really the theme of my keynote was that the playbook that we've all relied on for decades, we might have changed it a bit as we face new challenges, is really going to be not that useful in the next chapter. So we really need to rely on kind of our core instincts and our ability to make good business decisions, just because the way that we manage some of the raw materials in the industry, be it land, be it power, be it networking, those raw materials are becoming more challenging to procure to build the data center product. So one of the things as I look forward is that I need to remind myself that I can't rely on necessarily business as usual in the past. I really need to think about new ways to approach some of the challenges that we have. So really kind of go back to basics, go back to core instincts, and I think that that will certainly help with whatever's next for me going forward.
And speaking of challenges, and hearing that power is still kind of catching up with the industry, tell me, how do you think the power play will play out?
Yeah, I mean, power is going to be a challenge for everybody going forward, but I think we're seeing kind of rapid adoption of alternative power generation. Natural gas has been the latest. I think there were a couple announcements over the last couple days about partnerships between large-scale developers and natural gas I'll call it suppliers or enablers, if you will. So I think there'll be some of that, but I think also the model is changing, which I think is an important consideration for the industry, in that the utility, in order to meet some of the demands being put on them for power generation, is beginning to look to the industry to subsidize some of that, which means that the kind of the underwritings that developers have done to build the product, meaning the data center, has to evolve to accommodate those costs, which used to be on the utility side, but now are on the development side, and that at the end of the day is going to change the model to the end consumer, which is not just the hyperscalers. It's everybody that has leveraged a data center historically.
I think that's really interesting. Another thing I also find interesting in the industry is just the amount of land that there is still to build on in order to keep up with demand. But will there ever come a time where there is no longer any land left to build?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's certainly a long way to go on the land front. I think the question is more on the power front, which we obviously just discussed.
Yeah.
So, I think hopefully some of the technologies that reside in the data centers will become more efficient, which will reduce some of the demand for power.
Yeah.
And so the data center itself will become more efficient for the workload requirement that's in it, because it's really this GPU evolution, the compute required for AI that is causing that huge demand for power. But there's a whole world of compute that's been living in data centers for 20 years that leverages CPU, compute technology that doesn't have those same requirements. So I think I think there's going to need to be a balance, long term.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, for speaking with me, and I look forward to seeing what you do next in your future endeavors.
Yep, great to be here. Stay tuned.
Thank you. And as for you at home, don't forget to check out all our news on our website and follow us on social media. At the Tech Capital, you lead, we report. Bye for now.